This one hits close to home. I own a property that I actually inherited from my grandparents, and I'm in the process of, rehabbing it, getting it up to
Okay.
code, and I'm thinking about Airbnb and renting it out.
I was
But this
gonna say.
story might change my perspective on all of that. But you also,
I also have two
yeah, you
Airbnbs.
have two
One in
Airbnbs.
Buckhead, and I have another one kind of like closer to Decatur.
Yeah, so I'm
And
gonna
so
let
when
you
I
take
seen
this
this,
one. Yeah.
so when I seen this, I was like, wow. So a DC homeowner says an Airbnb guest has refused to leave her home for nearly 10 months
Wow.
and is now claiming tenants' rights. This is important. Now, the homeowner says the Airbnb guest had booked a 32-day stay last February, this
Mhm.
past February, then began a certain residency once she passed 30 days, despite
Yep.
having no lease.
No lease at
She
all.
she refused to move out, and she was supposed to end her lease. I mean, she was supposed to leave on March 29th.
Yep.
So that was how many months ago now? At least 9.
Yeah, at least I was about to say at least 9 months. Yep.
So Douglas has issued notices, called the police, gone to court, and even offered $2,500 for the guest to leave. Her name is, I guess, last name is Romero.
Yep.
An agreement signed but then ignored. Police said they cannot remove her without a court order.
Yep.
A judge has sided finally with the homeowner, but at a high cost and legal fees and lost revenue.
Yep.
Since the property did not generate any income while she wasn't paying.
Yeah, this is a big issue when you are a property owner, because a lot of times you don't understand the local laws and you don't understand how Airbnb, how rental, tenant, squatter rights, and all of that play a part in what you're doing. You can get taken advantage of real quick. So, number one, when you are doing Airbnb, you're letting a stranger into your home.
Yes.
Right? So that stranger, you don't know what is going to happen. So that person can come in there and never leave. And when they never leave, you think in your mind as the homeowner, oh, I just call the police. Like, this is you're basically trespassing on my property.
Right.
But the police is like, actually no, because that's a civil dispute between y'all two. You got to take that to court. If there's no court order, I can't do it. Now you're sitting here saying, hold on, so I pay the taxes.
Right.
If you don't pay the taxes, they take your house.
Right.
But this person can stay in there with squatters' rights until you go get a court order. Court order, these legal fees, especially in a big town like DC, probably $15,000, $20,000 to take somebody to court on this civil matter. That's why she offered her the money.
It's just the entire burden is on the homeowner.
Yes, the entire burden is on the homeowner. The squatter, and like the video said, she's been doing this consistently.
Yes.
So this is not her first time. This is not her first rodeo.
Yes, be clear. There's some context to this.
And she knows the laws. She knows how to get around. She knows that the police can't do nothing. She created a fake lease. She understands all of this. And by the time by the time you take her to court, she got 10 months out of you.
Yes.
She can just go to the next property.
Now, what I will say is, when I was watching the video, she said that it hasn't been a full 10 months of her paying absolutely nothing. She said, I don't believe her either, but let's just, for context, to give her side of the story, she said that past the 32 days, because she wanted to get her Airbnb, because supposedly her apartment had caught fire and needed to be repaired. So a little bit into the 32 days, let's call it 3 weeks in, she contacted the homeowner and said, hey, my home still needs some repairs. Can we extend this? So they had a verbal agreement. She was showing the interviewer her phone. They had a verbal agreement to say that, hey, I could stay here past that March 29th date. I think the problem was she didn't pay.
Yes, but that's enough. That's enough from a legal standpoint to say, okay, this is not a criminal case. This is a civil case. Take that to court. And that's the problem. They know the laws are set up for the tenant and to protect the squatter. And this is why these rights are abused and abused. But there are slumlords out here. So we understand that there's a give and take that counties do and lawmakers do in order to make sure people are not being put out in the middle of the winter
Yes.
kids are not being put
Right.
out, and
There was a kid. You're right.
there's a balance. You have to protect the investor and the homeowner, because if I'm a homeowner, well, I'm gonna just sell my house. I'm never going to reinvest, and then your neighborhood is gonna go to shit, and you're never going to get any tax revenue. So there's a balance you have to have
Yes,
between that.
you need to make sure that the homeowners feel good about the property and that they feel protected. My thing is, I don't mind the state saying or the city saying like, hey, we do have to make sure there isn't an active lease involved.
Yes.
Why did it take so long?
It takes so long
That is the issue.
because you think about it, judges are humans, lawyers are humans, and if it was just like some AI stuff you put
Like,
in, you put
yeah.
the situation and then spit it out, that'd be easy. But you got to think about it. Okay, March, it was finished in March.
Right.
Okay,
End of March.
Easter coming up, so they're not working around Easter.
You saying they on
And then
vacation.
May, it's the spring. Okay,
Right,
the beach
right.
is looking nice. So then you got the 4th of July coming up. Kids going back to school. It's a lot of stuff that gets in the way of getting your case done. I know you might think your case is the most important case in the world, but there's so many other cases that comes up and people cancel and reschedule and do all of
And
this.
there's a lot of like civil disputes too.
That's what I'm saying. So
it's probably a backlog.
as an Airbnb owner and operator, what are some things you do to ensure something like this doesn't happen to your property?
Well, see, and I like that you said that, because where you Airbnb at plays a major role.
Location, yes.
So you also have to kind of like, you really have to be intentional. One of the tips I can provide is that you have to remove the ability for any mail to be delivered. This is so important.
I didn't even know you could do this. But
Yes, you need to make sure that they are not getting any mail at your establishment, so you can avoid any like temporary renters or people saying that, hey, I have mail. If you have mail, you can get utilities put in your name.
Yep.
This can be proof that you can get an ID. Like, there's so many things. So if you can lock your mailbox, where my Airbnbs are, it has its own mailbox center.
Yeah.
So I don't give out the keys to my mailbox.
Yeah.
So if you have a mailbox that's right in front, you can always lock it.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter what goes in, only you can take it out.
Right.
So I would definitely say invest in a mailbox like that if you don't, but also do not give out your mailbox keys. 2, avoid renting to locals. If their driver's license address is in the same metro area, deny
Yeah, just basically.
basically no, just say no.
You know, that happened to me. So I live in Georgia. I was having a conference, and I'm like, oh, well, we having a conference, so I want my family to come stay, this, that, and the third. And as soon as I said I stayed in Georgia, they denied me.
Really?
Yeah, they denied me. They said, no, you cannot rent this Airbnb out. So what I had to do is I had to Zelle the money to my homeboy. He lives in Detroit. He was gonna come there anyway. So he had to put everything in his name.
Yeah.
And then we were able to do it.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Because they don't want people to have local parties and all of this stuff, or they don't want people to take over their property. And now you got to go through. I was gonna say,
so far I've been okay with locals, but I do understand, especially like if again your area is important, it matters. If you're in like a state, see, Georgia is for the landlords.
Okay.
A place like New York is for the renters.
New York, probably Jersey.
Yeah, so you have to understand where you are, because New York is full of slumlords. People know that they're notorious for it. So it definitely depends on like how careful you want to be with the locals, but I definitely understand that.
I think this is a good one.
Go ahead.
Research your local laws to determine how many days a person must live at a residence
to be considered.
Establish squatter rights. And avoid short-term leases that exceeds that. So, for example, if your local law says after 21 days this person has squatters' rights, then you only do short-term Airbnb or short-term rentals out up to probably 2 weeks, which is 14 days. And then you make them do another separate lease if they want to stay longer than 21 days. So, if let's say they want to stay a month, then they have to do 2 short-term 14-day leases instead of one long lease for the 31 days like she did. That would avoid them saying, hey, I've been in here 2 months. Like, how you gonna put me out now? Because that's
Right.
basically what she was saying.
That's basically what she said. Yeah,
Yep.
I've been here. Then she had her child there, and and the utilities were going off, and
Yeah.
she put the utilities in her name. It was a lot going on. It was a lot going on.
Yeah, that's a way that people can definitely finesse you. Is the squatters'
Overstaying.
rights? Yeah, the squatters' rights is
It's hard
a
though
tough one.
too, because you get so much money on the extended stays, but it's honestly the price of doing business. It's
Yeah,
always risk involved, and it's unfortunate that burden goes on. Somebody just trying to make a little extra scratch.
And you know what's crazy? Even with rental cars, I was watching an interview of a guy who rent out exotic rental cars, and he was basically saying like it's a bad business because what happens is if I rent your rental car, if I rent your Mercedes Benz truck or whatever, your Maybach or whatever, I rent it out for a week, comes out $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, whatever it costs.
Mhm.
If I just don't return your stuff, I didn't steal it. We have a agreement.
Right.
So if you go to the police and say so and so stole my stuff, okay, explain to me what happened. The police going, oh, so you gave him your car?
Yeah.
So you're renting this out?
Yeah.
It becomes a civil dispute.
Yeah.
So now what you can do is just say, hey, bro, I give you your money back. Just bring me my car. Because now you got a $300,000 car out here on the road.
Yeah.
And it's a civil dispute. So it's the same thing. Renting anything out is a very big risk, and it's the cost of doing business. So that's a good point that you brought that up.
I mean, you got to pay to play.
Yeah, that's a cost I don't know if I'm ready to risk though. Like when I put my money and put everything into my property, I don't even know if I would want to do that. Like it's kind of scaring me away.
Well, I think it also depends on your clientele. I also know people like we're more adventurous with like who we rent to for the Airbnbs, but I also know people who exclusively rent to a certain class of folks.
Yeah. That's really what I want to do. So what I was thinking about, it's a lot of colleges, like it's Wayne State, it's the University of Detroit Mercy. It's a lot of colleges. So I was thinking about solely renting to college students or solely renting to law students, medical students.
Oh my God,
these people got stuff to lose.
Medical students are the best.
Yeah, these people got stuff to lose. For one, they studying all day, so they're not partying, doing all this crazy stuff.
Yes.
But also, they can't get an eviction. If you're a lawyer, you can't get an eviction on you're trying to pass the bar.
Right.
You don't want this on. That's one
Right.
blemish that's going to be on your record. That so you signed a lease and didn't pay it. Like
grad students in particular.
Yes, they have things to lose. When you rent to Pookie and Ray Ray, they ain't really got nothing to lose. So Pookie and Ray Ray always catch you. I know a couple of Ray Rays too.
I'm done.